The grand hall of the galactic conclave shimmered with light that bounced off the crystalline walls. Delegates from 27 advanced civilizations sat in tiered seats arranged in a perfect circle. Their forms varied widely. Some had multiple limbs, others floated in specialized tanks, and a few were merely projected holograms of energy beings. At the center of this assembly stood Commander Gerald of the Centaurian delegation. His blue-tinted skin reflected the hall's lights as he raised all four of his arms for attention. "Esteemed members of the conclave," he said, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into the standard galactic language. "We come to the final item on our agenda, the status of Star System 3472b, locally known as the Solar System, and specifically its third planet, Earth." Hidden in a small observation pod disguised as maintenance equipment, Captain Susan Miller of the Earth Diplomatic Fleet's flagship USS Defender watched with careful eyes. The aliens had no idea she was there. Her dark hair was pulled back in, a tight bun, and she wore a plain black uniform with no markings. She looked like any maintenance worker if someone happened to spot her. Her recorder captured every word as Commander Gerald continued. "Our observation teams have monitored Earth for 300 years, Gerald said. The dominant species, humans, have reached early spaceflight capability, but remain confined mostly to their planet and its moon. They fight constantly among themselves. They waste resources. They lack unity." Floating tanks bubbled as the Aquarian delegates murmured agreement. The Vex representatives clicked their mandibles together. "I propose," Gerald said, his voice rising, "that Earth be classified as a Class 3 resource world." Susan Miller's breath caught. She knew what that meant. Class 3 designation was the conclave's polite term for enslavement. Planets with that label had their resources stripped and their populations used as labor. "The humans," Gerald continued, "have proven themselves remarkably adaptable and physically resilient. They would make excellent workers in the crystal mines of Betelgeuse or the gas collectors of Jupiter. Their brain capacity is sufficient for simple tasks but not advanced enough to pose any threat to our civilizations." A small delegate with gray skin and large black eyes stood up. "The Arcturan delegation objects," he said, his voice soft but firm. "Our long-range psychological studies suggest that humans possess unusual mental flexibility and creative problem-solving abilities. They may be more dangerous than they appear." Gerald made a dismissive gesture with his lower arms. "Dangerous? They still use chemical rockets to reach orbit. They have not even unified their planet under a single government. Half of them don't believe other intelligent life exists." Laughter echoed around the chamber. In her hiding spot, Susan typed a quick message on her wrist communicator. "Voting imminent. Proposal to enslave." Light years away, in a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Frank Williams received the message. His weathered face showed no emotion as he relayed the information to the Joint Chiefs gathered around the table. "They're voting on whether to enslave us," he said simply. General Patricia Norton, head of the Army, slammed her fist on the table. "Those arrogant—" "Steady," Admiral Williams said. "This is exactly what we've been preparing for since first detection." First detection had happened 20 years earlier, when a young radio astronomer named Alan Weston had discovered patterns in cosmic background radiation, patterns that could only be artificial. Earth governments had kept it secret, but immediately began pouring resources into defense and technology development. Back in the conclave hall, the debate continued. "The humans show potential," argued Ambassador Zarn of the Arcturans. "Their art alone suggests depths of consciousness we may not fully comprehend." "Art?" scoffed a Rigelian delegate, his tentacles waving dismissively. "What use is art to the conclave? We need resources, labor, and expansion opportunities. Earth offers all three." Susan watched as more delegates spoke, most supporting Gerald's proposal. The Vega representative showed charts of Earth's mineral wealth. The Syrian delegation presented graphs of human physical capabilities compared to other servitor species. "They're treating us like cattle," Susan whispered to herself. Finally, the high speaker of the conclave, a being of pure energy contained in a hovering metal sphere, called for the vote. Those in favor of designating Earth as a Class 3 resource World indicate now. Lights flashed across the chamber as delegates registered their votes. Susan counted with growing dread. Those opposed? Fewer lights this time. The Arcturans, the Proxima Colony, and a handful of smaller civilizations. The final count stands at 19 in favor. 8 opposed, announced the High Speaker. The motion carries. Earth is hereby designated a Class 3 resource world. Preliminary. Contact and resource assessment will begin within one planetary rotation of their world. The Centaurian delegation erupted in cheers. Gerald raised all 4 arms in victory. The Harvester fleet stands ready, he announced. We have already positioned ships at the edge of their system. We can begin the process immediately. Susan's fingers flew across her communicator. Vote complete. 19-8 against us. Harvester fleet already in system. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, alarms began to sound. Admiral Williams stood up straight, his voice steady as he addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Shield Wall is now active. Alert all commands. General Norton was already on her secure line. Activate the orbital platforms, bring the lunar batteries online. Across Earth, in hidden facilities and secret bases, men and women moved with purpose. For 20 years they had prepared for this day. Weapons platforms disguised as satellites powered up. Underground hangars opened to reveal spacecraft far more advanced than the public knew existed. While the world went about its daily life, unaware, humanity's defenders readied themselves for the coming storm. Back at the conclave, delegates were already discussing how to divide Earth's resources. Susan slipped out of her hiding spot and made her way to her extraction point. She had to get this recording back to Earth. As she navigated the service corridors of the conclave station, she passed 2 Centaurian officers talking. The humans will hardly know what hit them, one said. Our first wave will target their military installations. The second will secure their governmental centers. Will they resist? Asked the second. All primitive species do at first, but our technology is thousands of years beyond theirs. Their resistance will be brief and futile. Susan smiled grimly as she slipped past them. If only they knew. When she reached her small stealth ship docked in an unused maintenance bay, she quickly uploaded her recordings to Earth's secure network, then prepared for departure. As the conclave station shrank in her view screen, Susan Miller thought about her home, about the billions of people going about their lives, unaware that aliens had just voted to enslave them all. They think we're primitive, she said to the empty cockpit. They have no idea what's waiting for them. Her ship accelerated, then vanished into a wormhole jump. Technology the conclave believed was centuries beyond human capability. 3 light years away, Admiral Williams watched the final vote count again, his face illuminated by the holographic display. Let them come, he said quietly. They voted to enslave Earth. Now they'll learn what happens when you threaten humanity. Across the solar system, hidden human fleets moved into defensive positions. On the dark side of the moon, massive cannons emerged from concealed bunkers. In orbit around Earth, stealth platforms activated advanced shield technology. The aliens had made their decision. Now Earth would make them regret it. 3 months after the conclave's vote, the morning dawned bright and clear over New York City. People hurried along the streets going to work, unaware that their world was about to change forever. High above, beyond the blue sky, the first ships of the conclave's diplomatic fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. There were 12 vessels in total, massive structures that dwarfed anything humans had ever built, or so the aliens believed. On the command deck of the lead ship, High Executor Vex studied the blue planet on his view screen. His gray skin stretched, tight over his skull as he smiled. Such a pretty world, he said. Soon to be ours. His second in command, a tall Centaurian named Brask, nodded. The atmospheric composition is perfect for our needs. The mineral scans show abundant resources. And the humans? Vex asked. Primitive. Their most advanced weapons are nuclear missiles. They have no planetary shields, no space-based defense systems that our scans can detect. Vex nodded, satisfied. Begin the approach. Let us show them our power so they understand the futility of resistance. The alien fleet moved toward Earth, their engines glowing with strange blue light. They arranged themselves in a formation designed to impress and intimidate, a classic conclave tactic used hundreds of times before when subjugating primitive worlds. In the White House Situation Room, President Howard Bell watched the alien ships approach on multiple screens. He was a tall man with broad shoulders and calm eyes. "They're right on schedule," he said. Major Olivia Patterson stood beside him. She wore a simple dress uniform and carried herself with quiet confidence. At 35, she was one of Earth's top linguists and diplomats. "The UN Assembly is ready." "Mr. President," she said, "all world leaders are in position." Bell nodded. "And our defenses?" General Sam Rodriguez, a stocky man with a buzz cut, spoke up. "All systems are online but inactive. Shield generators are powered down but ready. The orbital platforms are in stealth mode. The moon base batteries are fully charged." "Good," the president said. "Remember, we play weak until they show their true intentions. Major Patterson, you're on." Major Patterson straightened her uniform. "I won't let you down, sir." The alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere with a display meant to awe and terrify. They broke through the clouds over major cities around the world: New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, New Delhi, their massive hulls blocking out the sun. People in the street stopped and stared upward. Some ran in panic. Others took videos with their phones. Emergency sirens wailed in every city. The largest ship, Vex's command vessel, positioned itself over the United Nations building in New York. A beam of light shot down from its center, creating a column that reached all the way to the ground in the plaza in front of the UN. Inside the General Assembly Hall, world leaders gathered in emergency session. The building shook slightly as the massive ship hovered overhead. President Bell stood at the podium. "Everyone stay calm. This is what we've prepared for." A shimmering light appeared in the center of the hall. It grew brighter, then faded to reveal High Executor Vex and two other alien representatives standing there. A three-dimensional projection so perfect, it looked like they were actually present. "People of Earth," Vex announced. His voice translated into all human languages simultaneously. "I am High Executor Vex of the Galactic Conclave. We have come to bring your world into our community of planets." Major Patterson stepped forward from her position beside the president. As planned, she would be Earth's spokesperson. She had carefully prepared her appearance to match what Earth's spy networks had learned about alien expectations: simple clothes, no obvious technology, a humble demeanor. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady. "I am Major Olivia Patterson, chosen to speak for humanity. We are honored by your visit." Vex's lipless mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "The honor is ours. Your world has been observed for many of your years. The time has come to formalize our relationship." Around the world, billions watched the broadcast. In hidden bunkers and secret facilities, soldiers and technicians monitored everything, hands hovering over controls that would activate Earth's true defenses. "We would be pleased to hear your proposal," Major Patterson said, playing perfectly into the aliens' expectations of human naivety. Vex gestured and a holographic document appeared in the air. "The terms of Earth's incorporation into the conclave are simple. Your planet will be designated a Class 3 resource world. Your people will provide labor and resources in exchange for protection and limited access to conclave technology." Major Patterson studied the document, though she already knew what it contained. Captain Susan Miller's recordings had been analyzed thoroughly. "This seems to say that Earth and all its resources would belong to the conclave," she said carefully. "And that humans would be relocated as needed for labor purposes? A standard arrangement," Vex said smoothly. "Many worlds serve the conclave in this manner. It is an honor to contribute to galactic civilization." In the back of the assembly hall, UN Secretary General Maria Lopez exchanged glances with the Zhou, Chinese premier. Both knew what relocated as needed for labor purposes really meant. Major Patterson looked troubled, exactly as she had been instructed to appear. "I'm afraid I don't fully understand," This sounds like what? Human? Vex's tone hardened slightly. Like slavery, Patterson said simply. A murmur ran through the assembly hall. Vex's projected image seemed to grow larger. Not slavery. Organization, structure, progress. Your species is young, undisciplined. You need guidance. Patterson's eyes narrowed slightly. And if we decline this honor? Vex made a gesture that might have been a shrug. Why would you? But if you did, we would be forced to take more direct measures. For your own good, of course. I see, Patterson said. And those measures would involve... A demonstration might help you understand, Vex said. He turned to one of his companions and nodded. On screens around the assembly hall, a satellite view appeared showing a small, uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean. A beam of light shot down from one of the alien ships. When it disappeared, the island was gone, vaporized into nothing. Gasps filled the hall. This too had been expected, though the aliens didn't know that the island had been evacuated weeks ago. That, Vex said, was one of our smallest weapons. We have no wish to use them, but we will if necessary. Major Patterson looked appropriately frightened. President Bell stood up, his face grave. We need time to consider, he said. Vex's image flickered. You have one of your Earth days. Sign the agreement or we will begin taking what we need by force. The alien projections vanished. The beam of light outside the UN building disappeared. The ships remained hovering over Earth cities, a constant threat. In the assembly hall, world leaders broke into urgent discussions. Major Patterson approached President Bell. They showed their hand. She said quietly. Bell nodded. Just as we expected. Prepare the response team. 12 hours later, High Executive Vex received a message from Earth. Major Patterson's face appeared on his view screen. We have reached a decision, she said. We wish to present our answer in person, aboard your vessel, as a sign of respect. Vex smiled. This was exactly the fearful submission he had expected. Permission granted. You may bring 3 representatives. When the transmission ended, Brask approached him. Is it wise to allow humans on board? Vex laughed. What can they possibly do? Their weapons are useless against our technology. 3 hours later, a small Earth shuttle approached Vex's command ship. Inside were Major Patterson, a military officer named Captain John Rivera, and a civilian scientist, Dr. Lisa Garcia. As they docked with the alien vessel, Captain Rivera whispered, Shields charged? Patterson nodded. And the package is ready. When they stepped onto the alien ship, they were met by armed guards who escorted them to the command deck where Vex waited. Welcome aboard, the High Executor said. Have you brought the signed agreement? Major Patterson stepped forward, all signs of humility gone from her bearing. I'm afraid that won't be possible, she said firmly. The people of Earth respectfully decline your offer. Vex stared at Major Patterson with disbelief in his large oval eyes. The command deck of his ship fell silent as the other aliens turned to watch. You decline? Vex finally said. His voice was low and dangerous. Perhaps you did not understand the demonstration of our power. Major Patterson stood tall, all pretense of submission gone. We understood perfectly. Now let us show you something. She pressed a small button on her wrist communicator. Outside, in the skies above Earth, something changed. The air seemed to shimmer and then, like a curtain being pulled aside, Earth's true defenses appeared. Hundreds of orbital platforms, previously invisible to alien scanners, became visible all at once. On the dark side of the moon, enormous gun barrels emerged from hidden bunkers. And around every major city on the planet, energy shields formed shimmering domes of protection. On the alien ship's monitors, alarms began to sound. Brask rushed to a control panel, his 4 hands moving quickly over the displays. Impossible, he shouted. They have planetary shields, advanced weapons platforms. None of this was in our scans. Vex's face darkened with rage. This is some trick, some illusion. No trick, Captain Rivera said calmly. Earth has known about the conclave for decades. We've been preparing. Dr. Garcia stepped forward. She was a short woman with fierce eyes. While you watched us build chemical rockets and simple satellites, we were reverse engineering crashed alien technology in secret facilities. We've had faster-than-light capabilities for 15 years. Vex lunged toward a weapons control panel. You will all die for this deception. Before he could reach it, Major Patterson pulled a small device from her pocket and pressed it against the nearest wall. It lit up with a blue glow that spread quickly across the room. Every alien system on the command deck shut down at once. An electromagnetic pulse, calibrated specifically to your technology, Patterson explained. Another gift from a crashed scout ship. The Earth representatives were already backing toward the exit. The alien guards raised their weapons, but nothing happened when they tried to fire. This ship is disabled, Patterson said. But we're willing to talk peace if you are. Real peace, not slavery disguised as protection. As they reached the door, chaos erupted. Alien crew members shouted orders and scrambled to restore power. Vex screamed threats as the humans escaped. Back in their shuttle, Captain Rivera quickly took the controls. That went about as expected, he said as they detached from the alien vessel. Think they'll listen? Dr. Garcia asked. Major Patterson shook her head. Not yet. They're too arrogant, but they'll learn. As their shuttle sped away, the alien command ship drifted powerless above New York. The other ships in the fleet, seeing their flagship disabled, opened fire on Earth. Their energy weapons struck the newly revealed shields and dispersed harmlessly. Earth's orbital platforms returned fire, their advanced weapons slicing through alien hulls with frightening precision. 2 alien ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. 3 more, damaged but functional, retreated to higher orbit. The rest held position, seemingly unsure what to do without orders from Vex. In the Pentagon's underground command center, Commander Peter Walsh of Earth's Space Defense Force watched the battle on the main screen. He was a stocky man with salt and pepper hair and 30 years of military experience. Deploy the fighter squadrons, he ordered. Let's show them what else we've been hiding. From bases around the world, sleek spacecraft rose into the sky, fighters with technology that no public space program had ever revealed. They moved with impossible speed and maneuverability, their designs clearly influenced by alien technology but with uniquely human innovations. Squadron leader Kate Martinez led the first attack run against the alien ship still hovering over London. Her squadron of 12 fighters approached the massive alien vessel from multiple angles. Remember your training, she said into her comm. Their shield frequency changes every 30 seconds. Time your shots with the pulses. The human fighters darted around the alien ship like angry hornets, firing precisely as the alien shield cycled. Each shot landed with devastating effect. From his damaged command ship, Vex watched in horror as his fleet was systematically taken apart by what should have been a primitive species. How is this possible? He demanded as his engineers finally restored emergency power. They were supposed to be defenseless, a communications officer approached nervously. High Executor, the Arcturan delegation is sending an urgent message. They say they tried to warn the Conclave about the humans. On Earth, the battle continued. In rural areas where there were no shield domes, alien forces attempted to land ground troops. They were met by Earth soldiers armed with weapons that could penetrate alien armor, and by ordinary citizens who proved remarkably well prepared. In a small town in Colorado, Farmer Bill Johnson and his neighbors ambushed an alien patrol with weapons that had been distributed months earlier by the military. The aliens, expecting primitive resistance at best, were overwhelmed. My grandpa fought in World War II, Johnson said as he helped capture an alien soldier. He'd be proud to see us fighting for Earth. In laboratories around the world, scientists like Dr. Nicole Ryan worked frantically to counter alien biological weapons. When the invaders released a paralyzing gas in several cities, they were shocked to find it had no effect on the prepared population. We developed an airborne vaccine, Dr. Ryan explained to a military general as they watched the failed alien attack on monitors. Every major city has had it in their water supply for months. The tide of battle turned further when Captain Eric Daniels, commanding the stealth vessel Phantom, managed to slip past the alien fleet's defenses and infiltrate their secondary command ship. Daniels was a tall, lean man, known for his exceptional skills in covert operations. With a small team, he bypassed alien security systems and reached the ship's main database. "I'm in," he reported back to Earth Command, downloading their tactical database now. The information he retrieved was priceless: the weaknesses, strengths, and battle tactics of every species in the Conclave. With this data, Earth could target specific vulnerabilities in each alien ship. By the end of the first day of battle, half of the alien fleet had been destroyed or disabled. The rest retreated to the far side of the moon, regrouping and desperately trying to understand how they had been so thoroughly outmaneuvered. On the command deck of his damaged flagship, Vex received the battle reports with growing dread. What had begun as a simple subjugation mission was turning into the worst defeat the Conclave had suffered in centuries. "Send a message to the Conclave," he ordered. "Request reinforcements, all available ships." His communications officer looked up with fear in his eyes. "The humans have blocked all our faster-than-light communications. We can't reach the Conclave." For the first time, Vex felt real fear. The humans weren't just resisting, they were winning. On Earth, Admiral Frank Williams addressed an emergency session of the United Nations. Representatives from every nation listened intently as he explained the situation. "The immediate threat has been contained," he said, "but this is just the beginning. The Conclave will send more ships when they realize their fleet has failed. We need to take the fight to them." President Bell stood up. "For 20 years we've prepared in secret. Now the time has come to show the galaxy that humanity will not be enslaved. We will not be harvested for resources. We will claim our place among the stars as equals, not servants." The assembly erupted in applause and cheers. In orbit above Earth, Major Patterson looked out the viewport of the space station Freedom at the wrecked alien ships now being studied by human scientists. "They voted to enslave us," she said quietly. "Now let's make them regret it." 6 months after repelling the alien invasion, Earth was ready to take the fight to the stars. In that time, scientists had studied the captured alien ships and weapons, making improvements and adaptations that merged human ingenuity with alien technology. In orbit around Mars, a massive fleet of Earth warships gathered. They were sleek and powerful, painted with the new symbol of United Earth, a blue planet with a shield. Admiral Julia Howard stood on the bridge of the flagship Freedom, looking at the assembled armada on her view screen. 117 ships, said her second-in-command, Captain Roy Davis. "The largest fleet Earth has ever built." Admiral Howard nodded. She was a tall woman with dark skin and eyes that missed nothing. At 52, she had been chosen to lead the diplomatic arm of Earth's counteroffensive. "The Conclave has thousands of ships," she said, "but they're spread across hundreds of worlds, and they don't know we're coming." The plan was bold but simple. Using the wormhole technology that Earth had secretly developed, the fleet would jump simultaneously to multiple Conclave worlds. Each world would face the same choice: renounce the Conclave's decision to enslave Earth and establish peaceful relations, or face the consequences. In the fleet's main hangar bay, General Keith Reeves inspected the troops who would serve as ground forces if needed. He was a broad-shouldered man with a stern face and a reputation for fairness. "Remember your training," he told the assembled soldiers. "We don't want to destroy any civilizations. We want to change the Conclave's mind about humanity." The soldiers stood at attention, wearing advanced combat suits that incorporated the best of human and alien technology. They could withstand energy weapons, operate in various atmospheric conditions, and enhance strength and speed. On the other side of the hangar, Dr. Alex Murray checked his medical supplies one last time. His team had developed vaccines and treatments for every known alien biological weapon and disease. "Ready for wormhole jump in 30 minutes, announced the ship's AI system. Admiral Howard returned to her command chair and opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Admiral Howard. Today we bring the fight to those who thought they could enslave us, but remember, we are not conquerors. We are not invaders. We are defenders of freedom. Earth's freedom, and potentially freedom for other worlds under conclave control. Fight with honor. Show mercy when it's accepted. Victory through strength and wisdom. Across the fleet, crews made final preparations. Engineers checked wormhole generators. Pilots ran last-minute diagnostics on fighters. Soldiers secured their equipment. Wormhole coordinates locked, reported the navigation officer on the Freedom. All ships report ready. Admiral Howard took a deep breath. Begin jump sequence. Throughout the fleet, wormhole generators powered up. Space seemed to fold in on itself as swirling blue portals opened ahead of each ship. One by one, the Earth, vessels entered the wormholes and vanished from the solar system. In the Centaurian system, home to the species that had led the vote to enslave Earth, the day began like any other. Ships moved between planets carrying resources and people. On Centauri Prime, Premier Voru addressed the Council of Elders about the strange silence from the Earth invasion fleet. "It has been 6 months," he said, his forearms gesturing, in frustration. "No communication, no return of any ships. We must assume the worst." An elder raised her hand. "Are you suggesting that primitives defeated our fleet? Impossible." Before the Premier could answer, alarms began to sound throughout the council chamber. Outside, in the pink sky of Centauri Prime, space seemed to tear open as 20 Earth warships emerged from wormholes. Panic erupted in the council chamber. "How did they get here?" shouted one elder. "They don't have wormhole technology." Premier Voru stared in horror as the Earthships took up positions around the planet. Fighter craft launched from their hangars, forming protective screens around the larger vessels. A communication request flashed on the council's main screen. With trembling hands, Voru accepted it. General Keith Reeves appeared on the screen. "I speak for Earth," he said, his voice translated perfectly into the Centaurian language. "6 months ago, your fleet attempted to enslave our world. They failed." Voru struggled to maintain his composure. "There must be some misunderstanding. The Conclave only wished to bring Earth into our community of worlds." "As slaves," Reeves said flatly. "We have the recordings of your vote. We know exactly what you intended." The Centaurian Premier glanced nervously at the Earth fleet, visible through the council chamber's skylight. "What do you want?" "Peace," Reeves answered. "But on our terms. Earth will join the Galactic Conclave as an equal member, not as a resource world. And the practice of designating sentient species as resources will end." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as Earth ships appeared above various Conclave worlds. At each planet, Earth representatives delivered the same message: renounce the decision to enslave Earth and establish peaceful relations, or face Earth's new military power. Some worlds immediately agreed. The Arcturans, who had voted against Earth's enslavement, welcomed the human fleet as potential allies. The smaller civilizations that had always chafed under Centaurian dominance saw an opportunity for change. Others resisted. The Rigelian homeworld scrambled its defense fleet to oppose the Earthships. They discovered too late that humans had adapted their technology in ways they never imagined. Earth fighters moved with impossible speed, dodging Rigelian targeting systems. Human weapons cut through alien shields calibrated to stop very different types of attacks. Within hours, the Rigelian fleet was disabled, their defense stations neutralized. Admiral Julia Howard personally led the diplomatic mission to the Rigelian government once their defenses were down. "We could destroy your world," she told the Rigelian High Council. "We choose not to. Remember that choice when you consider our terms." On Centauri Prime, the situation grew more tense. General Reeves maintained position above the planet while Premier Voru frantically communicated with other Conclave worlds. "They've appeared everywhere," he told his council with growing horror. "Earth ships above 27 worlds simultaneously. How is this possible?" "The Arcturans were right," said an elder council member. "We underestimated the humans." Outside the council chamber in the streets of the Centaurian capital, news of the Earth fleet spread quickly. Citizens gathered in public squares, looking up at the human ships with fear and wonder. A group of civilian leaders long opposed to the military-dominated government saw their opportunity. Led by Professor Jeln, a respected academic, they marched to the council chamber. "Premier Voru has led us to disaster," Jeln announced to the crowd. "He voted to enslave a species that has now proven more advanced than we believed. His arrogance may destroy our world." The crowd roared in agreement. Centaurian security forces, seeing the size of the protest, stepped aside. Inside the council chamber, Voru received reports of the uprising with growing panic. "We must resist the humans," he insisted. "Our technology has failed," interrupted a military advisor. "The humans have adapted their weapons specifically to counter ours. Their shields operate on principles our scientists don't understand." As the civilian protesters reached the council chamber doors, Voru made his decision. "Lock down the building. Prepare my escape ship." But it was too late. The doors burst open and Professor Jeln led hundreds of citizens into the chamber. "Premier Voru," she announced, "you are removed from office by the will of the people. The council is dissolved." Voru tried to flee but was quickly surrounded and captured by his own guards who had switched allegiance. Professor Jeln approached the communication system and reopened the channel to the Earth fleet. "General Reeves," she said, "I speak now for Centauri Prime. We wish to negotiate peace. As a gesture of good faith, we offer you the architect of the vote to enslave Earth, former Premier Kaz Voru." On the bridge of his ship, General Keith Reeves nodded gravely. "A new beginning for our worlds," he said. "We accept." As Centauri Prime began peace negotiations, similar scenes unfolded across the galaxy. One by one, the worlds of the Conclave came to understand that humanity was not to be enslaved, but might instead become their most valuable ally. 1 year after the Conclave had voted to enslave Earth, the Great Hall of the Galactic Assembly looked very different. The circular chamber had been redesigned, with all seats now on the same level, a symbolic change to show that all species were equal. At the center of the hall stood President Laura Bennett of Earth. She was a slim woman with silver hair and clear blue eyes that reflected decades of wisdom. She wore a simple blue uniform with the Earth Shield emblem on her shoulder. "1 year ago," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of the hall, "your representatives voted to classify Earth as a resource world. You plan to enslave my people and strip our planet of its resources." The assembled delegates, representing 27 civilizations, watched in silence, and many looked down in shame. "You could be standing in ruins today," President Bennett continued. "We had the power to destroy your worlds, just as you planned to subjugate ours. We chose not to. Remember that choice." In the front row sat Professor Jeln, now the elected leader of Centauri Prime. Behind her, under guard, former Premier Kaz Voru watched with defeated eyes. "Today we offer a new charter for the Conclave," President Bennett said. She gestured and a holographic document appeared in the air. "One that specifically prohibits the enslavement of any sentient species and guarantees the right of self-determination for all worlds." The charter glowed as it rotated slowly for all to see. Its first article read, "No world may be designated as a resource planet. No species may be forced to labor for another." "We will vote on this charter now," said President Bennett, "but know this. Earth will not accept a return to the old ways. We have established bases on 50 worlds outside this room. Our fleets patrol the trade routes you depend on. We do not wish to rule through fear, but we will not allow slavery to return to this galaxy." The vote was quick and unanimous. Even those who did so out of fear rather than conviction raised their hands to accept the new charter. After the ceremony, Ambassador Zarn of the Arcturans approached President Bennett in a private meeting room. The small gray alien bowed respectfully. "We knew," he said softly. "We've been watching humanity for centuries. Your ability to adapt, your creativity when facing challenges, we tried to warn the others. But they wouldn't listen." Bennett finished for him. "No. Their arrogance would not allow them to believe that a younger species could surpass them." Zarn hesitated, then added, "Now they beg for your forgiveness." And for our protection, Bennett said, raising an eyebrow. Zarn nodded gravely. There are older, darker things moving in the outer reaches of the galaxy. The Conclave will need humanity's unique qualities in the wars to come. What things? Bennett asked. We call them the Void Collective. They consume rather than conquer. They've already destroyed 3 systems beyond the furthest Conclave outposts. President Bennett looked out the window at the stars. So we've gone from fighting for our survival to defending the galaxy. Your species adapts faster than any we've encountered, Zarn said. You turn enemies into allies. You find solutions where others see only problems. The galaxy needs these qualities now more than ever. Later that day, President Bennett addressed the Earth Security Council via holographic conference. Admiral Howard, General Reeves, Major Patterson, and other leaders who had helped save Earth listened as she explained the new threat. They voted to enslave us, President Bennett said. Now they beg for our help, and we will give it, not because we've forgotten their intentions, but because defending all life in this galaxy is the right thing to do. She stood tall, embodying the spirit that had taken humanity from a supposedly primitive species to a galactic power in just 1 year. Let's show them what humans can really do.